Hi there, my name is John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA, and welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text and we tie into an item from the Dollar Tree. This is for the 16th Sunday after Pentecost, and we're looking at the gospel lesson. It's the parable, one of my favorite parables, but it's the parable about we've got the workers that are waiting to be hired, and they've got the owner, the manager, who hires the workers, and throughout the day he hires another worker. And so the one worker works all day, another worker works just 3/4 of the day, and then half of the day, and then a quarter of the day. Then when they get done, the worker that has worked the entire day expects to be paid more than the worker that worked a quarter of the day. Kind of the way it works, at least we think. But they find out that all of them get paid the same amount, and the guy who's worked all day is not too terribly happy about it. And it's just a parable of grace. I mean, what a wonderful parable that God's love flows out. Doesn't matter if you've been hanging around God for that long or that long. It's God's love is equal to all of us, and I love this parable, and I love the fact that it gets frustrating because we know what it's like when we're like, this is not fair. Reliant K, in one of their songs, they've got a great line that says, "The beauty of grace is that it makes life not fair." And I love this idea because if life was fair, I would be in trouble. And I do not want to get what I deserve. Now, I'm not going that way with the children's sermon. I'm just thinking the sense where it's like, I'm really glad that grace flows out freely, and God's forgiving and God's love is poured out the same on all of us. So now the item I'm looking at using measuring cups. Love measuring cups. I love to cook with them, and each measuring cup has its purpose. A quarter measuring cup, it does what it needs to do, and I use the quarter measuring cup for the jobs I need it, and the 1 cup measuring cup, I use it the same. And the thing is that when I bought these, I bought them for $1 at the Dollar Tree, and each one of them is about worth a quarter, and it's about the same. Now, I like this idea that I get drawn to this idea about that each one measures a different thing, but I'm using them the same. I'm very thankful for them the same, and I find use out of all of them. So I get drawn to that, and I like this. And that's the springboard I'm going at, trying to look for these items that have different measurements, but my desire to use them is the same, and I'm thankful for using them as the same, and that ultimately coming back that we get to be part of God's kingdom, and God's love for us just pours out the same. There's a magic trick out there. If you do any of that, I'm a magician. I've been doing magic for about 30 years, and it's called the Professor's Nightmare, and it's 3 equal and unequal ropes, and one rope is small, the other rope's long, and the other rope's longer, and all 3 ropes at the end become the same length. And again, that's that drawing that it's like the idea of, and you could even just pull out 3 strings, and they don't have to be the same length, and just idea, or as I'm processing, springboarding on my own self, to bring up 3 different heights of kids, or bring up a young kid, bring up a parent, and maybe bring up a grandparent, that 3 different ages, and about how all those 3 different ages, even though they've had the smaller kid has had just this little bit of life experience, the parent has had a little bit more life experience, and the grandparents has had a lot more life experience. But the fact is that God loves each one of them the same amount. And I hadn't thought of that before I started this. Before I started talking here, and that's the direction I'm going. So cups are gone, and I'm going to use that. That's the direction I'm going. I think there's something there, and I hope you can use some of this as a springboard for your own thinking, and that maybe one of these random ideas gives you something more to go with. I like the idea of the three people, three different ages, and having a God that loves them the same. All right, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a fantastic week.